So in the world of body fat, most of us immediately think of belly fat, but in actuality, there are three common types of fat that are found on our body, and today I'm going to break down those three types. Hi, my name's Tracy D. Mitchell. I'm a Mayo Clinic health and wellness coach. I'm also the author of a book called The Belly Burn Plan, and for the last 20 years, I have been helping people like you stay fit and healthy by eating the right foods for your body, moving more, and living a healthy lifestyle. Before I break down these three fats, why don't you just take a second and hit the subscribe button to stay in the know on all things good and healthy for your body. All right, so let's break it down. First and foremost, I want to tell you about the healthiest type of fat that you have on your body. It's a fat that you're born with. In fact, babies are born with more of it and slowly lose it as they get older. It is called brown fat. Now, brown fat is pretty special. It's found in places like the backs of our neck, and it makes up no more than 3% of our overall body fat. What makes brown fat so special is that it creates heat for us. It actually has an effect on our metabolism. It is a thermic fat. There's really not a lot to do to gain more brown fat, or certainly not to lose brown fat, but it's there and diminishes slowly as we get older. But just keep that in mind the next time you're talking about body fat, that there is in fact one form of fat, brown fat, that's really good for your body. All right, let's break down the second body fat that I want to tell you about that is much more of a nuisance. Having too much of it is definitely not something that most of us want. It is subcutaneous fat. Now, subcutaneous fat by definition just means under the skin, so all fat is technically subcutaneous. But for all intents and purposes, subcutaneous fat, the type I'm talking about, is the pinchable type of fat that's found in places like the backs of our arms, our bra line, our breasts, our hips, and our thighs. Now, I'm not going to break down all of the hormones that go into gaining or losing this type of fat, but it is hormonally active. Decades ago, before more research was done, we used to think that subcutaneous fat just kind of sat there and didn't really do anything to our body. But now we know that hormones like leptin, our fullness hormone, are actually created in our fat cells. All right, and the third and final fat that I want to briefly tell you about right now that distinguishes itself from the other two is visceral fat. Now, visceral fat is also known as belly fat, and that's the type of fat that's found in our midsection area, and it packs itself tightly in and around our vital organs, our heart, our liver, our spleen, and it stresses these parts of our body out. In fact, people who have more visceral fat are more predisposed to conditions like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol, and other forms of cancer. So it's a really important fat to get to know and understand and to try to get your arms around. Now, the upside of visceral fat is that it doesn't want to be there. It wants to move off your body, but you have to do something about it first. I mentioned earlier that subcutaneous fat is hormonally active. In fact, there are two standout hormones that are responsible for a lot of visceral fat storage, and that includes cortisol and insulin. Now, I'm not going to dive into all of those right now, but I will link to another video that will explain a little bit more about this relationship. But it's important for you to know that if you have visceral fat right now, you can do something about it. You have to modify your diet and eat foods that are right for your body. Avoid the refined processed foods. Watch the amount of sugar you're eating. Make sure you're focusing on higher fiber foods. You need to move more and take care of your body by strengthening the joints, ligaments, muscles. Exercise is a great way to also regulate blood sugar level and insulin levels. And other lifestyle factors too, like sleep and stress management, are key to managing visceral fat. Now, just to break down one more time, the three types of fat that you have on your body are brown fat, which is that thermic type of fat, makes up the least amount of fat on your body, and is responsible for generating warmth. Then there's subcutaneous fat, and subcutaneous fat is the pinchable type of fat that's found on the backs of your arms, your hips, your thighs, your breast area, your bra line. And this is the type of fat that's hormonally active in that it produces something called leptin, your fullness hormone, among other hormones as well. And then in addition to that, we have visceral fat or belly fat. And this is the most detrimental fat to our health. People who have more visceral fat are more predisposed to develop type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, heart disease, and other forms of cancer. Lifestyle modification is absolutely the key to managing visceral fat. Now, if you're wondering right now, what can I do to try to shake some of this visceral fat? Check out the link below to a 6-week meal plan I have that has taken all of the thought work out of this for you. And I've also linked to another video that explains the relationship between insulin, cortisol, and belly fat. It's an important relationship for you to understand.